Hi there. As we pass through another week in lockdown here in Sydney, some 18 months into the COVID-19 pandemic, it's become more important than ever that we take the time to check in with our friends and colleagues. In this Culture Chat, we're joined by Duncan Ivison, our Deputy Vice-Chancellor Research, and Maree Teesson, Director of the Matilda Centre, and they share with us some tips on how we can best check in with colleagues and make sure that they're okay.
Hi, Marie.
Hi,
First thing
Duncan.
I have to do, the first thing I should do is ask you, are you okay? How are you doing right now?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Duncan. I'm doing okay today. Doing okay. The sun's shining, feeling all right. Now, I should ask you, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I just went for a walk, which is really nice. I highly recommend it. You can get trapped behind your Zoom screen all day. So a bit of fresh air, some sunshine. If you're lucky enough to have a dog, even better, or a cat, whatever your favorite animal is. Okay, so look, one thing that I love about our university is that we have amazing colleagues like you who have a lot of expertise and insight into dealing with some of the challenges that we're all dealing with at the moment. So I just thought, what can we do to look after each other? What can we do to sort of protect our well-being and our mental health during a situation like this, drawing on your expertise and the wonderful work that the Matilda Centre does.
Thanks, Duncan. And I think the first thing is just to really acknowledge that we are in the middle of a pandemic. And part of that acknowledging is acknowledging how we're feeling. So just in the same way you and I just then acknowledged how we're feeling, that's super important, both ourselves individually, but then also acknowledging how our colleagues are feeling. Maybe they are a little bit exhausted. Maybe they are a lot exhausted. Maybe they are trying to juggle two jobs at the same time, homeschooling and work. Critical thing is that we absolutely acknowledge that, and that we acknowledge that we are working from home in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of lockdown. These are extraordinary circumstances.
And what would you say, just a quick follow-up, if I'm a manager, if I'm leading a team, whether it's a team of academic researchers, whether it's teachers, whether it's professional staff, what are some tips for managers to really understand and support their staff at a time like this?
They change all the time. So it's as the pandemic has evolved, then the things that we need to do have changed. And I do think sometimes we think, right, we'll just set and forget. And in these circumstances, we can't. It's continually evolving and trying new, different ways. Um, the way I like to frame it is actively coping. So not avoidant coping. So avoidant
Mm.
coping would be, I'm just going to avoid and not even think about the fact that we're in a pandemic. Active coping is, what can we actively do to manage this? And what can we actively do to help our staff to manage that? And engaging the staff in acting coping, getting them to come up with some ideas. What could help
Mm.
them? And I'm often just really surprised at the many different things that people come up with. Just this week, it was for me, sit down and instead of doing all of my calls on Zoom, it was actually make phone calls. So switching it up. But again, it's just keeping in mind, let's not avoid this, let's actively cope with it.
A big thank you to Maree and Duncan there. At times like these, it's critical that we take time to check in with others, but Duncan and Maree give us some great tips for how we can actively cope and support our colleagues.